Well, welcome to the webinar, 7 tips to stay motivated when things aren't going your way. So here's something that I really didn't even start thinking a lot about until earlier today, is that we talk a lot about motivation or inspiration and how to keep things going in motion, etc. But we don't spend enough time on recovery. We don't spend enough time really focusing on what to do when things are not going your way. And I think what most people are doing is just trying to make sure that things don't ever not go our way. So like when you think about Mary Kay and having confidence, having self-esteem, feeling good, so much of the training and the common thinking is, how do I get people to not say no? How do I get people to not reject me? How do I get people to basically tell me what I want to hear and do what I want them to do, etc. And I mean, that's what all of us want, right? We want life to go our way. So there's nothing wrong with that. But we don't spend a lot of time saying, how do I deal with the emotions once they're there? How do I deal with the negative thoughts once they're there? Most of our training is trying to avoid the negativity from ever showing up. And what works when we're in a neutral state to get us to a positive state, like when, how do we wake up and get ourselves motivated to take action? What works from neutral to motivated is different than unmotivated to neutral to then motivated. So this place from unmotivated to neutral, let's say, that's way more important. I can't believe I've been doing this for 15 years and never really focused on how much more critical this is. And the reason is because we spend most of our time unmotivated. Motivation is not something that most of us are walking around with the majority of the time. And when we hear a lot of the training about how to get motivated, how to stay motivated, it doesn't allow for us to embrace the fact that as human beings, most of the time we won't be motivated. Most of the time we are not going to wake up and just want to go do the things that we know we should do. This is the reality. I teach this stuff nonstop. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been swimming in this ocean. We've been incredibly successful. I am this work. And most of the time I'm not motivated. If you were just to focus on, like, in every given moment, if we're just going to use motivated and unmotivated, even though I don't love those labels, but for now, if we were just going to use in this moment, motivated or unmotivated, in this moment, motivated or unmotivated, in this moment, motivated or unmotivated, I gotta think I'm probably 80% unmotivated. And I live in the world of motivation. I live in the world of personal development. So the reality is, most of us spend most of our time in this unmotivated state. And I know I'm just using these big labels in a dichotomous way. You either are or you aren't. And of course, there are plenty of other emotions and thoughts and all the stuff we have, but hopefully you're getting the gist of this here. If most of us are starting from unmotivated, or most of us are in this unmotivated place the majority of our life, then going from there to neutral, which, by the way, is important. You don't go from just unmotivated to motivated. You got to go from unmotivated to neutral, from neutral to motivated. And the distance between those two are different in scope and sometimes different in length of time that it takes. And it could be different for each one of us at a detailed level. But winning that distance from unmotivated to neutral, I got to think it's 100 times more important. And I swear there was a piece of me that's like, dude, how are you so dumb that you never thought of this and never trained on this until today? So anyway, that's what we're going to look at today is how do we stay motivated when things are not going our way and things are generally not going to go our way. So we're going to go for about 45 minutes or so, give or take an hour. And I want you to really embody this piece. I want you to to apply some of the things that I'm going to share with you today. You don't have to apply all of them, but I want you to grab a few things and implement them. Knowledge without implementation is ignorance. So if you have knowledge, but you don't implement it, then there's no way the knowledge can benefit you in any way whatsoever. And the things that I'm going to share with you are really, really simple. The way you combat complication is with simplicity. So if you see anything that really lands for you, you have an idea, you want to share your thoughts in the Pink Caddy Coaching Facebook group. If you have any questions, you can write them right here in the chat box. For those of you that are on the computer or on your phone, you know how to type it in. And I want you to take notes of inspiration, not just all the things that I say, meaning if you have an idea in your head, reach out to this person or try this technique, capture those, because those are not on my slides. You can go back and watch the replay to capture everything that's in my slides. And stick around to the end. We'll talk about how to go deeper, and we'll talk about really embodying this success mindset on a much more rooted level. So the reality is it's possible to have everything you want in Mary Kay and in life. It's possible to build a successful business. It's possible to do it all without sacrificing, but you have to understand how the brain works, and you have to understand how to recover, how to go from that place from unmotivated to neutral and then get into motion. So I don't want you to ask yourself if you know this information. I want you to ask yourself if you embody this information. If you know it, it doesn't matter unless you're actually doing it. And if you don't embody it, but you think you know it, that's more dangerous than if you don't know it. So a lot of these things, if not all of them, won't be anything drastically new for you. But if you check in with yourself and ask yourself, how quickly do you recover from a rejection? Or how quickly do you recover from, I'm going to call it an abandonment of any kind in Mary Kay? You might not use that word, but if somebody tells you to call them at a certain time, you call them and they don't answer, that's a form of abandonment. If somebody gives you a wrong number, that's a form of abandonment. So whatever those negative experiences are in Mary Kay, how long does it take you to recover from them? Most people take an extreme amount of time to recover from the negative outcome to the next effort. So you make a phone call, somebody tells you they're not interested, or somebody quits or whatever, and then the moment from failure to next effort is a really long period of time for most people. And that is the majority of the game. So what if we just never got into that need for recovery because we didn't take it on as a personal rejection? I mean, that would be nice if we could just flip that switch. I don't know anybody who's flipped that switch, so that's the purpose of this webinar. And mastery, if you're interested in mastery, mastery lives at a much, much deeper level than just the surface. If anything I talk about doesn't apply to you specifically, I promise you it applies to most people. So here's the challenge. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going our way, when we're getting the yeses, when people are joining your team, when people are coming in as customers. It's easy to stay motivated. It's easy to go with the current of success. But as I said, most of the time we're not swimming with the current of success. So how do we manage then? That's the ultimate question here. Now, a little bit about me. If you haven't heard me give one of these webinars before, if you haven't joined or you don't know much about me, I'll give you the really short version. I'm a father and a husband. I speak and I coach, and I've been in the Mary Kay world for a long, long time. There's a picture of my wife, Sybil, my children, McKenna and Exley. My life was completely changed when I was 13 years old, and I was nearly killed by my next door neighbor. And it caused me to really take a look at life in a different way. It caused me to look at goal setting from a different perspective. It caused me to look at my parents differently, my friends differently. And I made a choice to do everything I possibly could to live the life that I wanted, because I didn't know when it was going to be over. And I almost died with no warning. So I made a vow to myself. But even though I made that vow for the next 20 years or so, I was still really struggling. I had the work ethic, I had the talent, I had the desire, but I wasn't creating the results. And if that sounds anything like places that you've been either now or in the past, where it seems like everything should be adding up to more than what you're generating, then let me know. I mean, that's not uncommon. It's actually extremely common. So in 2005 is when I had a massive, massive breakthrough internally. And it was around my limiting beliefs and the way I viewed the world and the way I viewed myself. And that was really what was handicapping my ability to create the results that I otherwise had the capacity to create. And ever since then, I just decided I want people to know what's possible. And the very next year, early in 2006, we started the Pink Caddy Coach brand in the Mary Kay world. And that's where I've been ever since. So before we get to these simple tips, I want you to just see an image from what we teach in the coaching world. I'm not going to dive into all of this stuff. I just want you to understand that there's a lot of complication going on in our brains. We have so many neural connections. Maybe you've heard of that, maybe you haven't, but there's so many connections in our neurology where when we think of a certain thing or we do a certain thing, our brain is firing so many connections inside based on all of the things that we've experienced in our past, based on memories from our childhood, based on memories from our adulthood, based on traumas that are unreconciled, based on wounds that haven't healed, based on beliefs that we have, based on fears that we have, based on identities that we have. We have so many things that are intertwined in this massive network of neural pathways in our brain that it seems extremely complicated. And while it is complicated in the sense that we've got a ton of these things that have already been connected over the course of the decades that we've been around, the answers are actually simple. One of the answers is, or one of the reasons the answers need to be simple, is we need to stop what's already in our brain. So what most people are doing is they've got all of these connections, all these anchors and triggers and like immediate responses to the idea of doing Mary Kay, to the idea of people quitting, to the idea of recruiting. We've got all of these things that are connected to our thoughts and ideas of work in the business. And then we try to solve our problems still inside of the big network or connected network of the problems. So we try to find the solutions in the network of the problems, essentially, without making significant shifts. So what I'm about to share with you are things that have their own benefits individually that I'll explain, but at a big level, what we're doing is we're trying to interrupt the patterns that are already messing with us. If we have a pattern that's been established and it's not producing what we want it to produce in our life, we need to stop that pattern. So a lot of these things, even if they don't bring these massive benefits from the activity itself, the fact that you're just using a simple stop is part of the big reason to implement a lot of these tips, right? So if we're spiraling out of control and when things are not going our way, that's what's happening. We're spiraling out of control. If we're spiraling out of control, one of the best things we can do is stop the spiral. So the first tip, get out of your office and get into nature. We just spent a lot of time on our coaches call earlier today inside of our team, just talking about the power of nature. Not just outside, right? I'm looking outside my window right now. I'm at one of the busiest intersections of my city, and we've got all kinds of cars going through. And yeah, technically that's nature, but there's a lot of traffic, like literally and metaphorically out there. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of hustle and bustle and overwhelm and tension. The best thing you can do when stuff's not going your way is remove yourself from anything that's causing the tension, remove yourself from anything that might be attached to the tension, and reset. One of the best ways to reset is to get into nature. Take your shoes and socks off if that's appropriate and that's available to you, and go walk on the grass or walk in the dirt, or if you're by water, go get into water. Do something that grounds you to the earth. Take your shoes off, especially if you're walking in heels and there's some restriction there in any way, or there's any kind of discomfort. Get your feet, get your skin connected to the earth. So just walking around on the grass can be really powerful. And especially as adults, We don't do this a lot. We don't do this enough. We don't go out there and just connect with nature because we've got all these roles and responsibilities, and we're taking care of kids, and we're going to work, and we're trying to build a business, and we're trying to do all these things that pull us away from our natural connection to nature. And what that does is it helps connect us to ourselves. So it's really like unplugging from something that is not serving you and plugging yourself into something that is naturally connected to your soul, to your humanity. If you can just get out and enjoy the breeze, enjoy the rain. If it's raining, just do something that gets you engulfed in the experience of Mother Nature. That's one of the best things you can do to unplug from all of the disconnect and all of the tension and all of the discomfort that is happening when things are not going our way. The second thing, which you can do in conjunction of what I just said, is intentionally move your body. Now, that doesn't mean just simply get up and move around, although that's better than sitting down. I mean, move your body with some intention and with a little bit of intensity. So you could go for a walk, but make it a little bit of a quick walk. You could stretching your body intentionally. That's a good way to get the endorphins moving, to shift whatever energy you were just in. You can do some kind of an exercise if you want to ride your bike, or if you're a runner, or you want to skip. Things like skipping. I was swinging the other day on a swing set. Like 4 days ago, I was on a swing set, and just the idea, or not the idea of, but the activity of swinging again, kind of brought me back to my childhood. And I don't know the last time was that I actually swung on a swing set. It was so cool. And then the partner that I was swinging with, we were just talking about how this connects us back to childlike feelings and childlike emotions and childlike memories. And that's usually a good thing when we can reconnect to our inner child, because that disconnects us from all of our adult confusion and discomfort and tension and all the things that we've got going on. So move your body intentionally in a way that gets the energy flowing a little bit. You don't have to do an intense workout, but if you can create a little bit of a lather, or if you can create some sweat, then that's great. Because the feelings that are generated in your body based on the energy of movement are completely disruptive to our business world especially, but to the energy of just having to hold everything together, right? Like sometimes let's just let it out. Let's let it go and let's play. That's another thing that a lot of people don't do, especially adults, is just play. Number 3, drink water. Anytime we put something else other than water in our body has to deal with it. Our body has to process it somehow. The worse the drink is or the food is, the more energy our body needs to use to process the garbage that we just put into it. And while it seems like that might not be a huge deal, if you just drink a sugary soda or something like that, it might not be the biggest thing, but your body has to handle what you did. It has to use some of its energy resources to deal with what you just put in it. But water does the opposite. Water gets your body going in a positive, healthy direction. It generates a different kind of energy. It's nothing that you have to stress over. Your body doesn't have to use any of its resources to deal with the garbage that you just put into it, because water is, it's not only is it healthy, but it generates some energy. Like it enhances what the body really wants in it. So the body isn't having to overcompensate for whatever it is that you just did. Now, when you get up and drink some water and move your body a little bit and stretch, it'll probably have as good, if not better, effects on you than if you just sat where you were, drank some coffee or something that we think will energize us, but stay in the same energy of frustration. Just move a little bit, drink some water, give your body a disruption in a positive way, and that will get you moving in the right direction. The fourth one here, this is a little bit more mechanical. It's based on the activities of setting goals, but this is something that's really important for some of us to just hit a pause on what we're doing and go, okay, maybe I need to check back in with my goals. The key here is to create long-term goals and short-term goals with personal rewards. And the goals should be things that you can control. Instead of just telling yourself you're going to get 2 bookings on your calendar, tell yourself you're going to make 1 phone call. And then after you make the 1 phone call, tell yourself you're going to make another one. And then after you make another one, then just do another one, right? If you do 10 phone calls, that's a series of 10 repeated actions. Each action is its own thing, and you can't do 2 actions at once. So you might as well just focus on whatever's in front of you next. So one of the best things you can do when things aren't going your way is move your body, drink some water. After you've gone out and walked in nature a little bit, just say, I'm going to make 1 phone call. And then make your phone call. After you make that phone call, just make 1 more. And after you make that one, just make 1 more. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is they commit to themselves some big amount of activity that the brain isn't excited about. And if you already have a little bit of resistance around making phone calls, one of the worst things you can do is motivate yourself to make 30 phone calls over the weekend. If you're not interested in making 1, you're probably not going to be excited about making 30. So just 1 step at a time, and give yourself a personal reward. Give yourself, and sometimes it's just as simple as, I'm proud of you. A lot of times when I go by a mirror, I give myself a little fist bump in the mirror. You know, I actually touch the mirror lightly and like I'm bumping fists with the guy in the mirror. Just give yourself a little bit of a smile. Just tell yourself, I'm proud of you. Good job. Now do you have 1 more in you? Whatever you can do to internally reward yourself for the effort is going to get you in motion a lot more than trying to motivate yourself with rewards externally. Like, if I do this, then I'm going to have some cake, or if I do this, then I'm going to go book a massage, or if I do this, then I'm going to get this other thing that I really want. Just the concept of rewards being attached to performance is a bad thing for almost everybody. Number 5 is to be feminine. Now, that does not mean be womanly necessarily in the term, in the sense that, you know, it doesn't mean to dress like a woman or put makeup on or to do things that are more programmed to be of the gender female. Feminine is an energy. And when people are frustrated, we're usually in our masculine energy, including women. When you're frustrated and you start to beat yourself up, or you start to shame yourself maybe, or you start to try to motivate yourself with threats, you know, or you're just using painful thoughts like, you should be better than this right now. I can't believe it's taken you so long to do this. You were supposed to start at 9 o'clock and here it is 2 o'clock. All of those are masculine activities. And not only are they masculine, they're based on shame and threat. The feminine doesn't respond well to shame and threat. It never has, and it never, ever, ever will. So if you can understand that feminine, masculine is energy, it's not male, female, it's not gender. And then you ask yourself, what would you say to a child if they said, mommy or auntie or just somebody that you know, and they were asking you as a friend, I just tried something and it didn't work. What would you say to that child? You would say some version of, it's okay, keep going. But when it's you that just tried to do something and didn't get the results that you want, most of us aren't so kind to ourselves. Most of us sound something like, you should have done better. You should have been better. You should know better. If you would have done the right thing, then you would have gotten a better result. That's the kind of internal language that we have with ourselves most of the time. And that is not feminine. That is masculine punishment. And in all my years of doing this work, I've never met anybody who has the ability to punish themselves into happiness. Some people punish themselves into success if it's measured by tangible achievements, but nobody's ever punished themselves into happiness. Nobody's ever punished themselves into joy. Because punishment is not feminine. Punishment is not creative. Punishment does not yield what you need to build a business, especially a business with people, especially a business with women people. So if you're in your masculine energy as a woman, you're doing a massive disservice to yourself, to your business, to your potential clients, to your team members. Because what we need more of is feminine nurturing and acceptance and embracing and love and encouragement. But most people don't live in encouragement inside their mind. So sometimes you just got to stop whatever the negative thoughts are and be feminine in this moment. Encourage yourself. Ask yourself, this next thing that I'm about to say, is it going to encourage me or discourage me? And if it's going to discourage you, then why would you say it? Sometimes it can just be that simple. The next one, number 6, quit. Quit something. Quit anything that's not serving you. It could be quit playing on your phone in that moment. It could be quit watching TV. It could be quit drinking whatever you're drinking if it's not serving you in that moment, or eating whatever you're eating if it's not serving you in that moment, or it could be quit a certain relationship or a certain conversation in the moment. Quit anything that's not stacking the odds in your favor. Remember, we're breaking the patterns here. In order to go from negative to neutral or unmotivated to neutral, we need to break the pattern. So let's quit anything that is continuing the patterns of negativity. And when you quit, it tells your mind that that old thing that you were doing isn't what you want to continue, and the new thing is important. We have to let our minds know what's important and what's important to not do anymore. And if you take a look at this list, everyone, it's simple. Remember, I said simplicity is the way to penetrate the complication, not more complication. And number 7 is surround yourself with like-minded people. Now, I know this is a common idea. We talk about it all the time. You have a lot of built-in resources in Mary Kay for like-minded people. But what I put in the second line there, what I put in caps, real, authentic environment. And I'm not saying anything negative about Mary Kay or any of the environments, but some environments, whether it's in Mary Kay or outside of Mary Kay, don't provide us an opportunity to be real. They don't provide us an opportunity to let the hair down or to just be authentic or to talk about anything that's going on in your life if it's not positive. We just have been taught in so many different areas of our lives that people don't want to hear negativity, or if you do share anything negative, then you're weak, or you're going to sacrifice your leadership, or you're going to do something negative. And my experience is the exact opposite, actually. Not only will we create more connection when we're real and authentic, but people actually trust you more. A lot of times they respect you more. And other people recognize that they are not alone. One of the most important reasons for us to be real with the things that are going on in our lives is to let other people know they're not alone. And when we can come together in community like that and recognize that, wow, you're having a lot of the same problems that I'm having, you're having a lot of the same fears that I'm having, that is so, so powerful. One of the most damaging thoughts that people have in personal development that will never help is I'm the only one going through this. If you think you're the only one that has to motivate yourself to get up out of bed, or you think you're the only one that secretly doesn't like warm chatting in Mary Kay, or you think you're the only one that questions yourself as a parent or questions yourself as a leader, If you think you're the only one, then of course you're not ever going to feel safe to talk about anything because you think you're the only one. One of the deep conversations that we had earlier today that I mentioned on our internal coaches call was all about safety. Is it safe to be real? Is it safe to try? Is it safe to fail? Is it safe to take action? Is it safe to leave my comfort zone? When we don't believe that our actions are safe, emotionally, primarily in this context, when we don't believe our actions are safe because other people are going to judge us or other people are going to ridicule us or just anything negative is going to happen, then we have this massive resistance toward taking action. And so many of us have never really truly felt a safe place where you can just be who you are without trying to position yourself as being super successful or really strong or anything like that. These are the kinds of environments that are so nourishing to the soul and so uplifting, both consciously when we realize that people are just like us and we're not alone. And sometimes there are strategic conversations when we share ideas of what to do to get in motion or how to handle certain situations. But for the most part, this is an energetic connection that so many people don't have in their life anywhere. I was just talking to somebody last weekend. She said the space that her and I had in a 10-minute phone call was literally an energy that it wasn't a phone call. It was just, we were just talking outside. It was something she's never felt in her entire life, like 37 years. She's never felt that kind of a safe connection and conversation. So a lot of us don't even know what that space is like. And the environments that we're normally in when things are not going well, the environments that caused things to not go well, or the environments that seem like they're caused by things not going well, have to be stopped. We've got to remove ourselves from those environments and get ourselves into a real, authentic, supportive space. And I know this is 7 tips, but I added one because I couldn't remove any of these other ones. I didn't want to remove any of them, but this one just had to be said. Do something you love just for the sake of doing it. The reason we get so stuck in our negativity when things don't go well is because we've been taught by society that things have to go well. And if things are not going well, then we're not allowed to be valuable. We're not allowed to have fun. We're not allowed to smile. We're not allowed to laugh. We have so much energy placed on and focus placed on performance that when things are not going well, most of us feel a lot worse about ourselves. And in that place, we're not coming from passion. We're not coming from love. And you know, one of the best things that you can provide to other people that will make them want to not just be around you, but join you in Mary Kay is show them love, show them passion, show them fun, genuine passion, fun, love. Show them that. Don't say it to them. Don't promise it to them if they get into a Cadillac or if they become a director, or if they perform in any way. Unconditional passion for life. Unconditional love for just being able to take in more oxygen. And then do some activities that bring that passion and joy and love out of you just for the sake of doing it. If it's reading, great. If it's yoga, great. If it's coloring, great. Whatever it is, don't judge yourself for the things that pull you back to that place of just passion and fun. Even if it's not some super significant activity, it could just be something really, really simple, like doing a puzzle or playing with Legos. Something just for the sake of the fun and the love of the activity. So these are the 7+1 tips for you to stay motivated when things are not going well. Because it's about unplugging from what's not working and then getting yourself into a place where you can then take an action. It's very, very difficult to be unmotivated, to be in a negative space, and then get on the phone and make a call to somebody who gave you their name and number, make a booking call or make a follow-up call from a place of negativity. It's really tough to go from negative to action. But we can go from negative to neutral, then neutral to action. And then action produces feedback, whether it's positive or negative, and I'm putting those in air quotes. Action creates clarity. Action creates momentum. Action creates endorphins being released. Action creates the energy that we want to experience. And too many people are waiting to be motivated. They're waiting to feel the effect of the action before they take the action. And that's always going to shut us down if you're like most people. So this information is not valuable at all unless you try it. Pick one, maybe pick two. And for the next week, catch yourself when things aren't going well and do one of these things. Whether it's an internal thing like being feminine, or it's an external thing like getting up and walking around, putting your feet on the grass, just to unplug from the negativity, get back to this place of neutral, and then just try one thing, whatever the one thing is. So I want to share with you a program that we have coming up. I just want you to hear from a couple people on the slides here. Debbie said after our initial consultation, she has 10 classes booked. I think it was like 3 days after our consultation, and she had all of this activity just simply because she got in motion. It's the stuff that we're talking about here. She got in motion and put out some effort, put out some activities, and got some really powerful results. Kathy said, in the past month, I've started to come to a place of peace and contentment. This is everything. Peace and contentment. Not tension and frustration and discomfort and hustle and overwhelm. Peace and contentment will take you further than excited motivation will. Excited motivation, when it comes in the form of raw kind of high masculine energy, I'm going to do everything and I'm going to take on the world and nothing can stop me. That energy doesn't last very long. It's actually extremely short-lived. So peace and contentment will get you further, especially in a business like Mary Kay, with women as your primary customer, primary team member. It's going to do so much more for your business to stay in this place of peace, contentment, love, embracing, acceptance, acknowledgement, and then just keep going. And when you stay in that place, you're going to elicit it in other people as well. And one of the things that doesn't work for most people in any business is when they join a business just to make money. When they join a business to do. That's not long lasting for almost anybody. Very, very few people have the internal makeup to just get up and be super motivated and go out and take the actions and be driven by the accomplishment. It doesn't work that way for almost anybody. And yet we think that it's supposed to work that way for everybody. We think that we're supposed to just have this switch turned on all of the time. And if you're a real human being, you probably don't have that switch that just stays on all of the time. So the things that I'm talking about are ways for you to, in your normal everyday life, to just course correct. It's way more powerful to understand how to course correct than it is to try to learn how to never need to course correct, how to never get into a negative space. The reality is we're going to. So you could pretend you're not going to, but then what do you do when you get there? You'll probably just freak out or beat yourself up because you're weak or you're not doing it the right way. And that's not the way to live life. So she says towards the end, I'm now so excited about my business and I have a whole new attachment to today. That's everything, to today. So for those of you that want to go deeper into this, I really want to teach you the fundamental mindset of success. This is a mastery class. It's going to be a 4-part live webinar training focused on mastery, focus on mental, emotional, and embodied mastery, all around keeping our mind focused in the way that we need it to be focused to succeed in both life and business. So you're going to have the sense of a stronger mindset, one that you control more. One of the things that a lot of people experience is lack of control with their mindset, lack of control with their motivation in all areas of life, not just with Mary Kay. The mindset of the entrepreneur versus the mindset of the employee. That right there is massively important. What most people are doing is trying to win in business with the mindset of an employee, and it'll never work that way. You have to start making some of these shifts to where you're thinking about business from the right business sense, not as an employee. And we'll dive into that on our calls. How to stop reacting to your life so you can do more creating, be a lot more proactive than reactive. How to not only understand motivation for yourself, but how can you help other people make some of these shifts from demotivated to neutral, from neutral to positive activity. So when you start sharing some of these things with other people, this is where it gets a lot more powerful from a team standpoint, because now the ripple effect starts to take place. That's what I get most excited about, is how can you teach this to your team? How can you teach this to your friends, to your colleagues, to your children, anybody else that you can teach this to? Because this piece is so critical for personal development and just for enjoying your life. And we'll also talk about strategy, some strategic ways to get into a positive mindset, ways that you can easily implement. I want all of you to have personalized game plans for success, personalized game plans for recovery that you'll be able to live with and use for literally the rest of your life. So the way we do these mastery classes is there's 4 live webinar trainings similar to this one right here. There's a Q&A session so that we can make sure we're answering all of your questions about the content or how to apply any of the content. You'll have access to all of the recordings. You can download them. You can get them on your computer so that you can listen forever if you want. You'll always have access to go back. There's handouts. There's a support community. We've designed all these mastery classes to increase human learning, adult learning specifically, to increase all of the variables in your favor so that you don't only understand the information, but you're able to implement the information so you can have an embodied transformation. So you can really, truly, literally feel a fundamental shift in your body, in your mind, in your soul, in your heart, in your emotions, in your life, and in your business. So we're going to start the live program March 2nd. If you're watching this after, for whatever reason, you can still join the program because you're going to have access to the course modules that you missed. And all of it is for an investment of $20. We want to make this super simple. I mean, think about investing $20 in learning one thing over the course of a 4-part mastery class. Each class is going to be an hour-ish, give or take a little bit. So over the course of 4 to 5 hours, probably learning about yourself, learning about the mindset of success, learning about how to implement some of these simple changes when things are not going well, how to increase the momentum when things are going well, how to pass this off to your children, how to teach this to your team members. Imagine what you can get when you implement any of this in your life or your business. Do you think you can earn more than $20 back? Do you think you can sell one more thing that would make it financially worth it? Hopefully you see that the answer is yes. If you don't think the answer is yes, then certainly don't join our class, or just ask for a refund if you join the class and you don't get out of it what you want to get out of it. But what we're wanting to do is really get this information in the hands of everybody. And really the power is in the implementation of the knowledge. It's not in the knowledge. So that's why we're really focusing on mastery and implementation and embodiment. Not just give yourself more intellectual things to remember and wrestle with when you're dealing with all these other negative factors. We want to help you dismantle the negativity and increase the positivity so that it starts operating more automatically for you. So you don't have to wrestle with motivations. You don't need a lot of the jump starts that a lot of people need from a motivated standpoint. And you can give your life that sense of peace and contentment and a lot more stability emotionally and mentally and physically and financially and funly. That's what we want for you. Without this kind of mastery, we'll always be susceptible to the fluctuations outside of ourselves about people, their decisions, their choices, the world, politics, whatever's going on in our environments externally. And when all of those things determine how we feel inside, then we're not in control of our life. We want to help you get in control of your life so that you're not a victim of all of the external surroundings that can change in any given moment. So as with everything, you have two choices. You can keep doing it the way you've been doing it. For most people, they're coping with the sabotage patterns that they have, or you can start reprogramming your brain. You can clear away the problems rather than coping with the problems, and it's a choice. So my invitation to you is to choose wisely. If you have any questions about this program, structurally or applicationally or theoretically or metaphysically or metaphorically or any other kind of let us know. You can email me, you can connect on social media or however else you can get connected to us. For those of you that are going to jump into the program, I promise you it will blow you away at what can happen when you implement some of these simple strategies that are applied to you personally. That's the key. This isn't a one-size-fits-all assembly line approach. Those don't work. To create massive transformation, to create real significant breakthroughs, you can never have a personal significant breakthrough with generalized knowledge. That's what we're going to deliver to you. I think it will give you an incredible amount of understanding of yourself and control over your mind, over your body, over your emotions, and ultimately over your actions, which will then obviously give you better results. So with that, everyone, hopefully this has been valuable to you. We're here to support you in any way that we can. If you're going to jump in the program, then we can't wait to dive in with you. And if you're not going to jump in the program, then hopefully you'll implement one of these 7+1 tips and let us know how they land for you when you implement them. In other words, how do they move the needle in your life for your results? With that, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you all really soon. Take care.